Nintendo fortified the Switch with layered protections to keep unauthorized software out. Ryan Michael Daly sold a key to the gate. For distributing devices that circumvented Nintendo's technical protections, he was ordered to pay $2 million. Nintendo's attorneys argued Daly wasn't just selling hardware. He was selling circumvention devices, tools designed to bypass protections and enable piracy. Representing himself, Daly countered his products were legitimate backup solutions. He conceded. A joint stipulation finalized a permanent injunction against him. The verdict drew a hard line between a tool and an instrument of theft. To see where that line falls, we have to examine the very code Nintendo fought so fiercely to protect. The code Nintendo sought to protect is more than a software program. It is the foundation of a closed economic system. Unlike an open platform like a personal computer, a game console's business model depends on controlling access. The hardware creates a market for proprietary software, and game sales and digital transactions are funneled through Nintendo's own storefront and services, creating a tightly controlled marketplace. The Switch's encryption is the gatekeeper to this market, a system of technological measures designed to ensure only authorized software can run on the hardware. This technical barrier is what transforms a piece of consumer electronics into a highly curated and profitable digital territory. Behind this fortress of code stands a legal wall, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. The DMCA's anti-circumvention provisions make it unlawful to distribute tools or services primarily designed to bypass a technical measure that controls access to a copyrighted work. The law draws a crucial distinction. The act of emulating a system's functions may occupy a legal gray area, but trafficking in tools primarily designed to break digital locks to access protected game code carries significant legal exposure. With a user base exceeding 100 million consoles, the integrity of this system represents billions in software revenue. The legal vulnerability, therefore, lies not in creating a compatible program, but in designing a tool that circumvents Nintendo's technological protections and facilitating access to the proprietary cryptographic keys needed to decrypt copyrighted games at runtime. The question then becomes how the Yuzu developers position their tool in relation to this fortress, initially framing it under a specific, trusted banner. At first, Yuzu looked like a story the open-source community had told before, a technically ambitious project, built by developers who said they acted out of passion and good faith. Its defenders argued it was built for preservation, to support independent homebrew development. The pitch was familiar because it had worked for decades. Emulation carried a certain moral weight, a belief that no corporation should hold a monopoly on access to digital culture. And historically, the law had largely agreed. But then the tool evolved, and with that evolution came a line, not a blurry one, but a bright, clean, prosecutable one. Yuzu integrated the ability to directly decrypt Nintendo's proprietary game files. This wasn't a side feature. According to Nintendo's complaint, it was the design, the core purpose, and it moved Yuzu out of the long, comfortable gray zone of emulation and into the precise territory the Digital Millennium Copyright Act was built to police. The DMCA doesn't just go after people who copy games. Section 1201 goes after both the act of circumventing access controls on copyrighted works and the trafficking in tools primarily designed to break them, not the song. The safe the song is stored in. Nintendo's legal team argued Yuzu was primarily designed to circumvent their technological protections, a tool for massive intellectual property infringement, not merely an emulator. It was, allegedly, a skeleton key, engineered to defeat the encryption that protected every title in Nintendo's library. The question before the court was no longer philosophical, it was mechanical. Not whether you have the right to emulate a console, but whether you have the right to hand out the crowbar that pries it open. Nintendo's legal team made a hard pivot. Gone were the abstract arguments about the right to emulate. The complaint now pointed to a ledger and a clear trail of transactions. The accusation, Tropic Haze, Yuzu's parent company, wasn't just distributing an emulator. They were, according to the filing, operating a commercial enterprise fueled by circumvention. The centerpiece of this argument was a Patreon page, not a humble tip jar, but an alleged profit engine. Its income, Nintendo's lawyers argued, was directly yoked to the emulator's ability to run pirated titles. The proof arrived in the form of a stolen kingdom. Weeks before the official launch of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the game was leaked. Pirated copies spread like wildfire across the internet. And in that critical window, as the leaked game spread and Yuzu's emulator was used to play it, their Patreon paid members didn't just rise, they doubled. The data, as presented in the filings, was stark. A direct, documented correlation, the leak of a stolen game, followed by an immediate surge in paid membership and revenue. The story of a passion project for preservation began to dissolve. In its place was a paper trail suggesting a business model built on circumventing technological protections whose removal enabled users to play pirated games, including one not yet legally for sale. The court was no longer being asked to judge code, it was being asked to judge a subscription service. With this, the case crossed a threshold. It was no longer a debate about innovation or access. It became a confrontation over alleged circumvention of digital protections, with Nintendo claiming Yuzu's developers knowingly profited from enabling piracy. The developers would have to defend not just their software, but their very income stream. Faced with Nintendo's complaint, Tropic Haze confronted a stark legal and financial reality. Nintendo's strategy did not seek a simple takedown. It pursued statutory damages for each alleged violation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. The liability was based on allegations that the software was primarily designed to circumvent technological measures, creating overwhelming pressure for defendants to avoid a protracted court battle. This aggressive posture is a hallmark of Nintendo's intellectual property enforcement. The calculus for Tropic Haze became a brutal exercise in risk management. The alternative to a swift settlement was a trial against a corporate litigant with virtually unlimited resources and a documented history of securing multi-million-dollar judgments in similar anti-piracy cases. The financial and operational cost of discovery, motions, and a potential trial represented an existential threat. Consequently, just days after the lawsuit was filed, Tropic Haze capitulated. The resulting settlement was not a negotiation, it was a surrender. The final judgment included a permanent injunction, barring Tropic Haze and its members, agents, and employees from further development, distribution, or promotion of the Yuzu emulator or similar circumvention tools. It also mandated a significant monetary payment, the destruction of the emulator's code, and the transfer of its website domains directly into Nintendo's control. The immediate conflict was resolved, but the terms of the surrender established a powerful new precedent, creating a chilling effect that would ripple far beyond a single piece of software. The Yuzu settlement didn't end a lawsuit, it wrote a legal playbook. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act's anti-circumvention provision, the section that makes it illegal to crack encryption locks, was proven as a weapon capable of destroying not just a product, but an entire development team, in a single filing. The permanent injunction, forbidding the developers from ever again facilitating circumvention, became the template. Create a tool that decrypts a current generation console's games, monetize it, and you're no longer a hobbyist, you're a defendant. The chill was immediate. In the weeks that followed, other prominent emulators for the same console voluntarily ceased development and shut down. No subpoena required. This wasn't a court order. It was a strategic retreat from developers who saw the battlefield and chose not to walk onto it. Nintendo's enforcement machine wasn't finished. A separate, parallel action delivered a final judgment of $2 million against Ryan Michael Daly, self-represented, operating out of a modded hardware storefront, for selling circumvention devices and preloaded pirated content. The message was unmistakable. The perimeter held, and no one was too small to pursue. Hardware, software, distribution channels. The company was prosecuting every link in the piracy supply chain simultaneously. The legal line is drawn. But lines have edges, and edges have consequences. If this breakdown clarified the legal line, like the video, when a console is commercially active and its games encrypted, does any lawful path exist for emulation and preservation? Or has the intersection of open source development and monetization been permanently defined as a legal dead end?